emergency provisions are contained in Part 18 of the Indian Constitution. Article 352 to Article 360 deals with the emergency provisions. Emergency provisions aim to safeguard sovereignty, unity, integrity, and security of nation. There are three types of the emergencies. National emergency, which can be imposed under Article 352 of the Indian Constitution. It can be imposed due to war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. Constitution express as a proclamation of emergency for that kind of emergency. President can declare even before war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. State emergency. State emergency can be proclaimed under Article 356 of the Indian Constitution. It can be imposed when there is a failure of constitutional machinery. It is also known as President Rule, State Emergency, or Constitutional Emergency. The Constitution does not use word emergency for this emergency. Financial emergency, which can be proclaimed under Article 360 of the Indian Constitution. That can be imposed when there is a threat to the finances of the country. National emergency. Grounds of declaration. If there is a threat to security of India or any part of it, President can proclaim national emergency. New emergency can be proclaimed even there is a already active emergency present on the ground. That provision was added by 30th Constitutional Amendment Act 1975. When national emergency declared on ground of war or external threat, that emergency will be called as external emergency. When emergency is declared on the grounds of armed rebellion, that emergency will be called internal emergency. It is applicable to the entire country or any part of it. 42nd Amendment Act 1976 enable any part of the country. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 substituted armed rebellion for internal disturbance. President can declare only after written recommendation of Cabinet. 30th Constitutional Amendment Act 1975 made declaration of national emergency immune from judicial review. But 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 deleted this provision. In Minerva Mill case 1980, Supreme Court held that national emergency can be challenged in court. Parliamentary approval and duration. Proclamation must be approved by both houses within 1 month. Earlier it was 2 months, but reduced by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. If Lok Sabha has been dissolved during proclamation, then proclamation survives until 30 days from the first sitting of Lok Sabha after its reconstitution. Emergency continues for 6 months and can be extended for infinite period with approval of Parliament for every 6 months. Periodical approval added by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. Resolution of continuance must be passed in either house by special majority. Earlier it was simple majority, but 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 changed the provision. Revocation of proclamation. National emergency can be revoked by President. It doesn't require parliamentary approval. Moreover, 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 also provided that 1/10 of total members of Lok Sabha give written notice to Speaker or President if Lok Sabha is not in session. Special sitting will be held within 14 days for disapproving continuation. Disapproval resolution is different from approving continuation in two ways. First, disapproval required to be passed by Lok Sabha only, while approval needs to be passed by both houses. Second, disapproval needs simple majority, while approval needs special majority. The effects of national emergency on center-state relation. A. Executive. State comes under control of center completely, though they are not suspended. Legislative. Parliament can make law on any state list. Legislative power of state not suspended. It becomes subject to override power of Parliament. These laws become inoperative 6 months after emergency ceases to operate. President can issue ordinance on state subjects if Parliament is not in session. Financial. President can modify distribution of revenue between center and state. Such modifications continue till end of financial year in which emergency cease to operate. On Lok Sabha and State Assembly. Life of Lok Sabha and State Assembly may be extended by law of Parliament for a year at a time, for any length of time. Such extension not continue beyond 6 months after emergency cease to operate. On fundamental rights. Suspension of fundamental rights under Article 19 according to Article 358 of the Indian Constitution. According to Article 358, when national emergency is proclaimed, 6 rights under Article 19 automatically get suspended. State can make law or take any executive action abridging or taking away 6 fundamental rights under Article 19. Such law or action cannot be challenged in court. When emergency ceases to operate, such law ceases to have effect and cannot be challenged in court. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 restricted scope of Article 358 in 2 ways. First, fundamental rights under Article 19 suspend only on ground of war or external aggression, not armed rebellion. Second, only laws or executive actions related emergency are protected from being challenged, not other laws. Suspension of other fundamental rights according to Article 359 of the Indian Constitution. Article 359 authorizes President to suspend right to move court, means fundamental rights not suspended, just their enforcement. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 restricted scope of Article 359 in 2 ways. First, President cannot suspend right to move court guaranteed under Article 20 and Article 21, means they remain enforceable. Only emergency related laws are protected from being challenged, not other laws. Distinction between Article 358 and Article 359. Article 358 confined to fundamental rights under Article 19. Fundamental rights under Article 19 automatically get suspended. Operates only in case of external emergency. Suspends fundamental rights under Article 19 during entire emergency. Article 358 extend to entire country. Article 358 suspends entire Article 19. Article 359 extends to all those which suspended by President, not automatically get suspended. Operates in external and internal emergency, both cases. Suspends fundamental rights for a specific time period. Article 359 extends to entire country or part of it. Article 359 not empower to suspend enforcement of Article 20 and 21. Declaration of national emergency made so far. It has been proclaimed 3 times. In October 1962 on account of Chinese aggression in Arunachal Pradesh, which was in force till 1968. In December 1971 in wake of attack by Pakistan. Proclaimed in June 1975 on ground of internal disturbance. And both of these emergencies were revoked in 1977. After that, 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 provided safeguards to stop misuse of emergency provisions. State emergency. Grounds of declaration. Article 355 imposes duty on center to ensure state align with the provisions of Constitution. Center takes over the control under Article 356 in case of failure of constitutional machinery. It is also known as President Rule, State Emergency or Constitutional Emergency. President's Rule proclaimed under Article 356 on 2 grounds. First, President proclaim if state not accordance with the provisions of Constitution or on report of Governor under Article 356. Second, President proclaim if state fails to comply with the direction from the center under Article 365 of the Indian Constitution. Parliamentary approval and duration. Proclamation must be approved by both houses within 2 months. If Lok Sabha has been dissolved during proclamation, then the proclamation survives until 30 days from the first sitting of Lok Sabha after its reconstitution. If approved by both houses, it continues for 6 months. It can be extended for maximum 3 years, with approval after every 6 months. Resolution of continuation must be passed in either house by simple majority. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 put restraint to extend President's rule beyond 1 year. There are 2 conditions to be fulfilled. First, national emergency should be in operation in whole India or any part of it. Second, Election Commission must certify that elections of Legislative Assembly of concerned state cannot be held. President's rule may be revoked by the President. Consequences of President's rule. President ruled through governor instead. He declared that power of state legislature to be exercised by Parliament. He can take all other necessary steps. President dismisses State Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister. Governor carries administration on behalf of President with the help of Chief Secretary of State or advisors appointed by President. President either suspends or dissolves State Assembly and Parliament passes state legislative bills and state budget. Functions of concerned state High Court remain same even during President's rule. Law made during President's rule continue even after President's rule and can be repealed or altered or reenacted by state legislature. Financial emergency. Grounds of declaration. When there is a threat to financial stability. Article 360 empowers President to proclaim financial emergency. 38th Constitutional Amendment Act 1975 made declaration of financial emergency final, conclusive and not questionable in any court. But 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978 deleted this provision and implied that it is not beyond judicial review. Parliamentary approval and duration. It must be approved by both houses in 2 months. If Lok Sabha has been dissolved during proclamation, then proclamation survives until 30 days from the first sitting of Lok Sabha after its reconstitution. Once approved by both houses, it continues infinitely till it is revoked. This implies 2 things. First, no maximum time period prescribed. Second, repeated parliamentary approval is not required. Resolution approving proclamation can be made by either house of parliament by simple majority. May be revoked by President any time. Effects of financial emergency. First, executive authority of center extends. Second, direct state through reduction of salaries and allowances of persons serving state. Reserve all money bills or financial bills. Third, President may issue direction for reduction of salaries and allowances of persons serving union, judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Criticism of financial emergency. First, federal character of constitution will be destroyed and union will become all powerful. Second, powers will entirely concentrated in union. Third, president will become dictator. Fourth, financial autonomy will be nullified. Fifth, fundamental rights will become meaningless and democratic foundations of constitution will be destroyed.